right, guys. Actually, it was a little dark. All right, guys, welcome back to the house. Now, I've been getting a lot of comments. This is not just recently, but over the past couple years, actually, about what's the deal with the hangar? When are you going to go forward on the hangar? A bunch of questions on that, the hangar/shop that we're building out here. And I figured today's the day. I'm going to update you all on that. Now, for those of you that haven't been following along, my wife Haley and I bought this property back in 2016 with one of the goals being to be able to land and keep the plane out here at the house. I guess I should explain what's been the holdup, because obviously we moved out here, and for the last 3 years landing the airplane out here, sure, I have the space to land, but it's been more of a novelty because we didn't have anywhere to park it that would be protected. Now, I guess I could leave my plane parked outside. I do it when I'm camping, but for long-term storage, it's not an option that I was happy with. One, we get a ton of elements out here. It's not uncommon for us to see 60, 70 mile an hour winds because we are on a ridge. But also we have a lot of these pack rats that live out here in the desert that love to go under the hood of cars and chew up all the wiring, and I'm sure they'd love to do the same thing under the cowling of my plane. So for the past 3 years, we've had the ability to land here, but haven't really had the ability to store the plane here. So it hasn't been a practical use. And really, our plan was, once we finished the build on the house, to jump right into the construction on the shop or the hangar. The problem is the house build went pretty significantly over budget. So we ended up having to take out a HELOC or home equity line of credit, basically a second mortgage on the house, to pay off some of the subcontractors we used when we built the house. So it took us a while to dig ourselves out of that hole. And then when the time came that we thought we were ready to build the shop the first time, basically we went in, quoted the building, and basically we say we had this much money saved up, the building was up here. So we saved till we got up here, and then we quoted it again, and it was up here. And so it turned into a bit of a cat and mouse race, pricing wise, that it didn't seem we were ever going to catch up on. But luckily, since COVID and all this craziness, things seem to have settled a bit. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to tell me this is a horrible time to build with this imminent crash that we probably have coming, or something about inflation. And I'm not going to argue on that. The problem is I'm not ready to live my life scared of something like that. We've saved. We're at the point that we're comfortable with the current prices. Steel has stabilized. I understand and respect that things might get cheaper in the future, but there's also no guarantee of that. And I am tired of sitting around. Like I said, we bought this property 6 years ago that we have been sitting, waiting, trying to get to this point. So we're doing it. We're pulling the trigger. I did put the deposit down on the building, and that's what got us the building plans. Now, we submitted the plans to the county 2 days ago, and now we're in the waiting game. I don't want to put down the manufacturing payment on the building until we have a signed or stamped permit set, knowing that there's no changes, because I would hate to put the money down on the building, even though I know it's engineered to code, and find out something wasn't right, and now all of a sudden I paid for a building that I can't build. So we're going to wait for the plans to come through, or the permit, I should say, which is probably going to take a month or two. After that, I plan on putting the rest of the money down on the building to get that manufacturing started. In the meantime, I can do the little bit of grading that needs to happen. Basically, I need to get that shipping container out of here, because we're not going to use that anymore, because we'll finally have storage. Just clean up the slope and, roughly level behind us. And basically, the building that we are building is going to be a steel rigid span building that's going to be 64 wide by 50 deep. Now, I kind of went down the rabbit hole trying to look at any way to attack this project, everything from pole barns to traditional wood construction to rigid span wood and insulated concrete forms, or ICF construction. And when it came down to it, the rigid span steel, or kind of a red iron steel building, ended up being the most practical way to build a building like we're looking at building. So the building itself is going to sit right where my plane is right now. Basically, we're setting it off far enough from the house so we're not in a range that would basically make it to where, from a fire code perspective, we'd have to put fire sprinklers in both the house as well as the shop. So as long as they're detached by at least 20 feet, I think we're going 30 feet, then we don't have to worry about putting any sort of fire suppression systems in the building. And like I said, the building's going to be 64 feet wide by 50 deep. The building will go from right here to right here. And while you're looking at it, this will be the front side. The right side of the building is going to have a 10 by 10 garage door There will be a glass one that matches our house. And then the left side of the building is gonna have a 45 by 14 foot bifold door. That's our high clearance door that could fit any size camper. Anything that could fit under a freeway overpass is gonna be able to fit through that door, which I'm getting through Diamond Doors. And for those of you that don't know who Diamond Doors is, they are a company that specializes in high quality bifold doors for everything from applications of aviation to industrial to agricultural. They make super high quality doors that are well above industry standard material wise. They're super simple, so there's very little maintenance and there's very little failure points on them. And they also have a bunch of convenient technology that's available for them, such as auto latching doors, remote openers with photo sensors to make sure nothing's in the way. Because gosh, the last few hangars I've been in, the doors have been a real pain to open and close because you had to go and unlatch multiple parts of the door and then push and hold the button the entire time it's opening. They all actuate super slow. Diamond Doors fixes all those problems. Now, Diamond Doors was so kind as to sponsor this video and asked me to mention to you guys their Black Friday sale, which they have going on right now, which is giving free shipping to any orders between now and December 16th. Now, these doors are all custom built to order. They're fully assembled, pre-wired, and painted to a finished quality and delivered directly to you for easy install. And also, Diamond Doors is founded by a former commercial pilot, so they really do know what's going on when it comes to aviation doors. And yeah, aside from those two front doors, I'm gonna have two man doors, one on each side of the building. At the front end, there's gonna be two windows, one on each side, basically, so I can see if someone's driving up in the driveway or if someone is landing. And then I'll have three windows on the back of the building for now. And I know that I can add windows later, so I didn't want to go too overkill with them. The reason I'm putting the three on the back is because in the winter months, the sun stays on the south side of the sky, so I'm trying to utilize a little bit of a passive solar heating, which our house, we designed that kind of into it, and it does a really good job of helping heat the house. And that brings me to the next thing. Now, this is one of those kind of open-ended things that I do plan on putting PEX in the slab of the floor. Basically, I'm going to insulate the foundation and the slab and then run PEX tubing in there. And I plan on using that PEX tubing to kind of passively heat and hopefully cool the shop in the winter and the summer. Now, knowing that I'm going to put PEX in the floor is the one thing that I have fully solid. And this is where maybe some of you guys could shed some light if you have any knowledge in the area. But my plan is to put some solar hot water collectors or solar water heaters to feed warm water into the floor. Basically, there's a number of panels that I can get that'll give me X amount of BTU that's calculated based on the square footage of the shop floor. Then I'd run basically a little 12-volt pump that could be solar paneled or just powered off a wall plug. And that way, when the sun is out, which here in Reno, even in the cold winter days, we have over 200 days of sunshine a year. So I'm hoping I could utilize some of that to help heat the floor. And then I kind of thought to supplement that on like really cloudy and cold weeks, I could put just a tankless hot water heater that I could flip on when I really need heat. You know, I'm not going to be living in the hangar or the shop, whatever it's called, which that's the other thing. I'm looking for a cool idea for the name of this project. So if any of you guys have a cool idea, you know, I thought like Fox Den or something because the fox will be in there, but I think that's not a cool enough name. So let me know what you guys think on names. But back to the heating, I just want to be able to take the edge off. You know, the plane, as long as I can keep the engine around 50 degrees in the winter, it starts great. So I don't think it's going to take that much because I am insulating the building with the batting that comes with the building. So we're going to do an R32 on the roof and just 13 on the walls for now. But as long as the shop is pretty tight and we can keep a little bit of heat in that slab, I think it'll stay relatively comfortable. And then the other thing I'm thinking of trying, which this is more of the experimental side, because I am in such a dry climate, it is possible to cool using the slab and the floor. Now, in a more humid environment, it's likely that you'd cool the slab below the dew point and it would condense and you'd have really slippery floors. Now, here in the desert, we don't have that much of that problem. So my thought right now is my friend Ryan, who you guys have seen in other videos, he has an electrical company and he has the ability to drill really big, deep holes. That's what they use for putting up big street lights and all that. So I was thinking of hiring him to come out and drill some 3 or 4 foot wide holes that go down about 30 feet and dropping basically a slinky of PEX in there. And then you fill it with sand and dirt and basically you're able to extract the cool out of it in the summer. So let's say I just am circulating that glycol or whatever the fluid is through the floor, would go through a pump down into the ground that's going to be, let's say it's 45 or 50 degrees, maybe 55 degrees in the summer. It'll cool that fluid down to that temperature, then put it in the floors. Then it should be able to cool the floors in the shop to about that same temperature, which would obviously make it nice and comfortable in the shop. So yeah, that is the update currently on the shop/hangar. That is way past due. And as far as the construction of it, I do plan on doing most of it myself. Probably hire someone to do the foundation. I'll do all the dirt work prior to it. I plan on erecting the building myself, although I'm a little concerned with the sheeting, both the walls and the ceiling or the roof. I know it's not that hard, but it's really getting those first panels perfectly plumb and square, that if you screw it up, then the rest of the building is all screwed up and cattywampus. So we will see how things go. I'm sure it'll probably be similar to the house, that I plan on hiring people for certain stuff and then it just comes down to it and I'm out of money, so I end up doing it myself. So I do plan on documenting the entire build for you guys so you can see what goes into building my little shop/man cave/hangar/whatever it's going to be. And obviously this is going to be used to park the plane in, as well as run my company copter kids out of, and be able to store stuff that we don't fit in the house and just have some space. Because as funny as it is, we built this house with absolutely zero storage inside of it, which is why we have the shipping container for overflow stuff. But we're well past due and ready for some more storage space. So anyway, guys, the sun is just now setting, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this camera put away and go get the plane put away back at the airport, which is one thing that I'm looking forward to not having to do, hopefully soon in the future. I'm thinking spring, early spring. Depending on how this winter goes, it might be a little too cold and too wet and too snowy for us to build. So that's something that's to be determined. Anyway, guys, like I said, comment below if you have a good idea for a name on this building. If you have any tips, tricks, suggestions, I am all ears. Please share them below in the comments. And you guys know the drill. Like this video if you do. Subscribe if you haven't. Come be my wingman. See you on the next one. Peace.